joining us. Penn State blew out to an early lead. Rutgers came back. They have the halftime lead. Let's go back now to Ron Franklin and Mike Rice in Piscataway, New Jersey.
Halftime, the Scarlet Knights 34-29. Ron Franklin and Mike Rice. Mike, early on, Penn State jumped out to an 11-point lead. And as we mentioned in the first half, always so important when you take the home crowd out of it, and they did early. That was not the case in the second 10 minutes of the half.
They had the tempo going their way. Fogel was getting free. They were doing a lot of good things until Rutgers started pressing.
Well, let's take a look at some of the defense on Fogel and what the Scarlet Knights were trying to do to keep him out of the action.
Well, usually Barnes would have scored underneath there. They had a man wide open. So they take Fogel outside, and he has to take a shot that he normally doesn't take, a little out further than he's used to.
And Hughes at 6 points at halftime, only 2 for about the first 12 minutes of the ball game.
Now he's getting a little more used to that matchup zone of Penn State. He's more relaxed. He's not forcing balls, as we see a great second effort there by Hughes. Without Barnes in the game, they can afford not to have Hughes score.
So Barnes went to the bench just under 6 minutes before halftime, but only has 2 fouls. He's got 3 to give in the second half. Scarlet Knights by 5 at the intermission. We'll be right back.
ESPN's presentation of the National Invitation Tournament, Penn State versus Rutgers, is brought to you by United Airlines, serving over 200 cities in the U.S. and around the world. Come fly the friendly skies. And by Subaru. We built our reputation by building a better car.
Quarterfinal action, Rutgers by 5 at halftime. And let's take a look at the first half stats. 43% Penn State, and they cooled off considerably. In fact, Rutgers goes in at halftime almost 50%. What the Nittany Lions were at 65 early on. Rebounds, Rutgers by 5, and in turnovers 10 and 8. And I'm sure both coaches would like to see that subside in the second 20 minutes here. Individual scoring. Vogel with 10. Diggins with 9 and Hayes with 6. Duckett with 9 points. Duncan with 7 and Hughes with 6.
And I don't know if Dave Diggins can score 9 in the second half, so Penn State's going to have one of their guards, Monroe Brown or Freddie Barnes, get a little more active in the scoring column.
Well, Freddie Barnes is the one I was referring to just at the close of our visit up here at halftime. He averages right at 11 points, and they took him out with just under 6 minutes to play in the first half when he picked up that second foul. But he's got 3 to give here in the second half. And a foul. Fogel very close to picking up the foul. They're going to say it is against Rutgers. Smith.
And Fogel is not the type of scorer that can carry Penn State by himself. And without the other big guy, James Barnes, in there, the guards are going to have to shoot a little bit more in this contest, or I think Penn State's going to come up a little short.
First foul on Smith, and an offensive foul against Penn State. Fogel is following the official all the way to the bench, all the way to the scorer's table.
That's his seal move, where he rams you and then goes back towards the basket. They finally caught him.
Second foul on Fogel. 1 team foul each in this opening 10 seconds.
Penn State out of that matchup. Good move by Coach Parkhill, going man-to-man to start the second half.
Duckett way outside. Wanted the bounce pass in the middle. He'll bring it back out on top. Jones. Now Duckett again. Duncan with a lob pass inside, and Diggins breaks it up. Rutgers comes back with the ball. Duncan. Anthony Duckett.
The big guy is, as we said, he's continuing his career night. All inside.
11 points for him. Diggins, almost an air ball. Fogel on the follow.
Fogel's not a great jumper. He's a position player. Both offensive rebounds. And a lot of people would say he didn't jump 3 inches to get that rebound, but he's always in the right place.
Vogel has 12 points. So Smith takes it strong to the hoop. Vogel with the rebound.
Vogel once again in the right place at the right time. Doesn't run the court well, doesn't jump well.
Freddie Barnes with the penetration.
That's a plus. They have to get him involved.
With Carter with the ankle injury, that's one of the things that Rutgers loses. That's the availability to penetrate.
Yes, and he does it well, Carter, for Rutgers. Back in the zone defense for Penn State. They just wanted to show him the man-to-man 3 times down. Now go back to the defense they think will work on Hughes the best.
Jones wants the lob inside to Hughes. Nothing was there, and turnover. Good heavens. Darrell Smith went up for the jump. Nobody was there. Just threw it right back over his head.
And Carter would be playing Darrell Smith, the sophomore from Worcester, Connecticut. He played 29 minutes against Fordham, and usually when you throw somebody in there, the first game they do well, like Daggetts for Penn State. But the second game is where the scouting report usually catches up to you.
Vogel, as he get help, knocked away, almost stolen. Barnes has it knocked off his foot. Daggetts misses the short jump shot, and that foul will be on Smith.
It's really refreshing to see someone like Daggetts go under there. Hasn't played a lot all season, but look at him seal there, get good position. And a lot of the coaches out there are saying the defensive man's always on the high side. He should be on the baseline side. Well, he was on the baseline side when they started passing, but Penn State always seems to get you so they can seal you and take an easy layup.
Darrell Smith with his second foul. It's his second team foul, and Lumpkin back in the lineup, number 44. 6'7" freshman. Turnover. Scarlet Knights come up with it.
They couldn't find him in the zone defense. He went outside.
Duncan with a 2-on-1 pass is kicked away. Nope, they're going to say Lumpkin touched it last.
Hughes came down, and the zone couldn't find him. Usually Daggetts is matched up with him, and Daggetts was underneath. Hughes went outside and made an easy basket. If they can get into transition, I think Rutgers could hurt Penn State. The game is too slow for them.
Right side angle, bounce pass stolen. Outlet pass, battle for it, and that's going to stay with Rutgers.
Good quickness on Rutgers going after the loose ball, and good defense by Keith Hughes, something he's not noted for.
Now watch Mike Jones. Oh, the replay stopped right there. He kept saying, no, it's our ball, and the official was pointing toward Rutgers.
He was trying to convince him.
He wanted to make sure the strong lobby backed up what had actually happened. 38-33. Just over 16 minutes to play in this quarterfinal action. Both of these teams trying to get a ticket to Madison Square Garden for the semifinals on Monday night. We'll have it right here on ESPN beginning at 7 o'clock. And the finals then on Wednesday. Tip inside. Duncan winds up with it and misses the layup.
That's the good man-to-man defense that created 23 wins for Penn State this year. Of course, they were 16-0 down at Penn State.
Deron Hayes dribbled it off his foot. Timeout on the floor. 15:40 left in the ball game. Rutgers by 5. Just a moment ago, I mentioned the semifinals at Madison Square Garden. Let's check the times for you. 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock Eastern time. That's on Monday. And then the finals of this year's National Invitational Tournament. Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. So Monday and Wednesday, the semis and then the finals of this year's NIT. We'll have them here on ESPN.
Will it be Anthony Bonner in St. Louis or Luke Longley, the big center from New Mexico? Hawaii has a great offensive rebounding team. They're all in the running.
Luke by way of Australia, right?
Oh, he's a good one, too.
Tipped away and stolen. Deron Hayes comes up with it for Penn State. Block. Jones got it.
Daggett's got to learn to pass the ball back outside. He's not a Fogle in the middle.
Tipped by Fogle this time, but it comes back to the Nittany Lions. Barnes throws it away.
Remember that 19 turnover mark. When they have 19 turnovers, they lose the game. They're up to about 12 now. They just don't have enough firepower to throw the ball away like that. Penn State has to be careful, patient.
Lumpkin with a running jumper. Fogle goes down. Hayes comes up with the carry.
That was a good description. Running jumper. Not in control.
14:30 left in the ball game. Rutgers by 5. Shot is blocked inside. Jones got a piece of it.
And notice now they're taking Daggett's out of the middle, and they're putting Monroe Brown down there and trying to get some inside pivot moves by Monroe Brown, and everybody wanted to block his shot.
Hayes, Lumpkin all over him.
Clever move, double pick for Deron Hayes. They're trying to get the freshman into the offense, so they ran a double pick for him.
Hayes holds it up, in and out, long, lucky bounce, and Duckett with the rebound for the Scarlet Knights.
Freshman of the year in the Atlantic 10 is having a tough night, Deron Hayes.
Duncan shot is off. Fogle with the rebound. You know, they've mentioned to us, he said, when Fogle plays less than 35 minutes, if he gets into foul trouble, Penn State is 0-10. That one taken away. Another turnover against Penn State. Jones all the way to the hoop. Count the basket, and Fogle picks up the foul.
Penn State is turning the ball over on one end. Their defense in transition is not good enough to stop it, and Fogle just couldn't get back. There it is right there, as you see. A good pass in there, but Daggett's is tired. And transition, you see Fogle run in there, try to pick up a charge. Good call by the official.
Daggett's is out of the lineup, and C.J. Johnson comes in. 3-point play completed by Jones. He now has 6 points. Johnson is a junior out of Dale City, Virginia. 6'8", 215. He played like an All-American last time out, and he needs to if he's going to put the Nittany Lions back in this one. They're down by 8.
Somebody needs to besides Fogle.
Fogle got hit in the eye, and he turns around to the official and says they got a contact knock loose.
That can be a little embarrassing to tell the official I got fouled and you missed it, but good officials will stop the play even though it looked like he was fouled right out in the open. He's asking the official, do you see it? I can't see it.
I think he might have hit himself.
That's what it looked like. It looked like his arms
the ball was
came
cut
up.
away.
Of course, the fans don't know that from Penn State. The big thing is, what do they do with Penn State in the next 2 years, Ron? They're a Big Ten team. The Big Ten hasn't set up a schedule for them. I don't think it's Ron Bertovich's problem, the commissioner of the Atlantic 10, but I think they're going to end up letting Penn State maybe play 2 games with every team and not count it in the conference, or they'll play them once next year and once the following year, every member of the Atlantic 10. But I really don't think it's the Atlantic 10's problem. The Big Ten just hasn't told Penn State when they can join the basketball conference, and I think that's going to really hurt Penn State's recruiting down the line unless the Big Ten comes up with a plan.
Mike, there's still some people that say they don't think that'll ever come about.
Right now, I'm one of them.
41-33, and look at the Rutgers defense. And the crowd is trying to be a good 6th man. 2-pointer just inside the line, and what a big one by Money Brown.
Great basket by Money Brown. They needed an outside basket, and there's a steal.
29-22. Vanderbilt by 7 in the first half over New Orleans. The other quarterfinal game going on tonight. 2 more tomorrow evening.
American South, New Orleans, that's an excellent league. They don't have an automatic bid. No one went to the NCAA, but good league down there, and they're playing tough in Nashville.
Duran Hayes.
Good move by Bruce Parkhill. He moved the big center, Fogel, out, and he put Duran Hayes underneath the freshman, and it opened it up.
4-point game, 41-37. You know what Tim Brando is saying at home right now? Mike, it's New Orleans. It's not New Orleans.
Yeah.
Timmy, I'm trying to educate him.
He gave me a lesson in that. New Orleans. I got it.
All with good body control. Can't get it to go down, but counted as Lee Perry. The senior out of Freehold takes back up on the follow. 6 for him, but it's 43-37.
They box out very well in their man-to-man, but when they go that zone, they leave some holes in the middle.
Hayes. Well, Lumpkin was all over him, and he still got it to go down.
They're paying so much attention to Ed Fogel. They're letting Mr. Hayes open underneath. Finally, a little firepower from someone besides Fogel.
Duncan, and immediately Brown is all over him. Lumpkin, 3-point attempt. Not there. Crashing the boards, and on the carom, Hayes comes back with it.
Fans wanted his steps.
Well, he couldn't make up his mind on his plant foot. Foul on the floor. It'll be the 3rd team foul against Rutgers, and I believe Jones. Yep, 15 of Mike Jones. So there's a timeout on the floor. 11-13 left in the game. It is Rutgers 43, Penn State 39.
Here's how, if you've played somebody for 3 times, you take away their strength. Look at the circle. They have a tent around Ed Fogel. They're not going to let him score. The problem is we've got Fogel covered. Now they run Hayes back to the other side, and they still have a double team on Fogel. Hayes scores. Here's a second look at it. They're going to stay right there with Fogel. I got Fogel. Nope. And that's good move by Bruce Parkhill, getting somebody else into the scoring.
4-point game, 11 minutes are just over. Tipped away, and Hayes fouled on the floor. See who Timmy Higgins is going to call here.
This is a gamble, taking Fogel out of the offense so much, but right now the gamble is paying off.
Perry just picked up his 2nd foul. And with just over 11 minutes to play, Rutgers leading by 4. Let's throw it back to Chris Fowler for a moment. Chris.
Okay, fellas, we're going to go from Piscataway to Nashville. New Orleans and Vanderbilt playing another 3rd-round NIT game. Let's check in with Larry Matson and Rich Sherber. Ron and Mike.
Thanks, gentlemen. Take a look at what has happened. Penn State has forged on top by 1, but Smith will put the Scarlet Knights back up by 1. Oh, we got a good one. Penn State won their game against Rutgers by 11 when they played at home. And when they came here to play in Piscataway, it was a 2-point game, and Rutgers won that one.
Well, Barnes, Brown, and Hayes all scored while we were away for Penn State.
Barnes with a very big 3-pointer in the points that were picked up. Fogel tips it, and the turnover, Money Brown comes away with it. 8 minutes, 15 seconds left to play. Who will go to Gotham?
Penn State has not substituted at all this half, and it looks like right now Rutgers a little better shape as far as physical goes than Penn State.
Well, Mike, look inside at the battle. C.J. Johnson trying to find the basketball, and Lee Perry is just all over him. Fogel got his man in the air. Keith Hughes couldn't get the shot to go, but Hughes will pick up the foul.
Hughes has been given the responsibility to try to stop Fogel. So they've taken Fogel out of the offense, and other people have been really contributing, and that's why Penn State is back within a point in this ball game. Now Fogel is going to be the focal point of the offense, it looks like, for Penn State.
Datica comes in, replacing Jones. And now Anthony Duckett, who played a huge part in the first half, will come back in. And Lee Perry will come out for the Scarlet Knights. Attendance tonight, 68,000 or 6,827.
Good contingent down from University Park. Penn State has that whole one corner, and they're making a lot of noise.
So it's 7 minutes, 53 seconds left of the ball game. Penn State leading by 1. We'll be right back.
The all-time leading scorer in Hatboro High School history does more than score at Penn State. Ed Fogle in the circle. Watch him set a great pick here. Everybody's heads turn. They don't even see the drive on the other side of the court. Now watch Mr. Fogle. All the way down court. Beats the guards back. Beats everybody back. Great defensive effort. He's the senior leader on the Nittany Lions.
That's really good hustle. 6'9", 200 pounds. Fogle with 14 points. He leads the Nittany Lions in scoring tonight. Duckett, the leader for RU, as they chant here at the rack. He has 11.
And look at him communicate in that zone, very difficult matchup zone defense. If you don't talk in the matchup, you don't play it.
Duncan all the way to the hoop, gets an unfriendly carom. Jennings loses the ball. Keith Hughes.
And that was a freshman mistake by Jennings. They're not a fast break team. He tried to go down court too quick, lost the ball.
Cody Barnes on the outside. 49-48. Rutgers by 1. Gerald Smith called for the violation.
And here's a couple of subs, and this was another good move by Coach Parkhill. He put Darrell Ricks in the ballgame, Mike Jennings in the ballgame. He needed to get his starters out of there, give them a little rest, and they gave them a valuable 2-minute rest.
That foul a moment ago on Datica, his third. Team foul number 6. Just under 7 to play. Rutgers by a single point.
Give a little man-to-man look now. They haven't seen it for the last 7 minutes. And you can see Rutgers has to pull out and try to get organized.
Last time they did it for one series down the floor, just inside 3-point. Crowd wants 3, but it's 2 by Duncan.
Earl Duncan says, I know how to take the man-to-man.
And the last time Penn State did that, in the very next trip down the court, they were back in the zone.
Yeah, they don't want to stay man-to-man too long. Earl Duncan's eyes light up.
Hayes working against Smith. Cody Barnes and Datica. Boy, did you see Datica the minute he picked up that dribble? Jumped in his pocket, didn't he?
They're trying to pressure him to keep that ball from getting inside. Penn State will get it inside.
Hayes whoops it up to the basket. Not there. On the follow. Hayes has it blocked inside, and Duncan comes up with the basketball.
And I think we'll see Mr. Daggett get up off the bench. Hughes is yelling at his teammates, I have Fogle, I can score.
Lobber inside, and that is an offensive foul called against Keith Hughes.
Frustration setting in. Hughes really thought he could score on Fogle, and he's telling his teammates right now, you got to give me the ball. He's orchestrating out. Ooh, there's the little, I could score if they let me use the forearm enough.
Forearm is effective. That's 3 fouls on him, by the way.
And he's not talking to the referee there. He's talking to his guards.
Forearm is effective, and particularly across the Adam's apple. Make that baby go around like a pea and a whistle, and you get the opposition's attention.
It works occasionally if they let you go.
1-1 as Fogle goes to the line. 2-point game.
But I imagine Mr. Hughes is telling the referee, you let Ed Fogel do that every time. Bang into you and then get position.
Datica back to the bench. Jones reports in, and Fogel gets them both. 1-point game.
The last 3 games here, a total of 10 points. Rutgers winning them all against Penn State, but always close.
Fogel with 16 points. He's perfect at the line. 6 of 6. Penn State with the zone, and they try to push it out front, Mike.
They're trying to get that matchup to make a mistake.
Duncan with a 3. Fogel clears the board.
Shot selection will be very important.
Smith with the foul as Hayes took it up.
Coach Parkhill probably yelled out, no, no, good. He does not want this ball club to push it up too quick. They haven't been really successful at that all day.
Darrell Smith with his 3rd. Well, Penn State has got 5 fouls to give, or actually 4 before 1 and 1. They've committed only 2 second-half fouls.
That could work for them or against them. If they're behind at the end of the ball game, they want Rutgers to shoot some foul shots. That'll work against them. Last year, Penn State had Tom Hovast, the great outside shooter. This year, Deron Hayes is more of a slasher-type scorer. Doesn't shoot as much outside.
Now 14 points for the freshman. 52-51. The Nittany Lions back on top.
Sagging man-to-man, keeping an eye on Hughes. Switching on all picks.
To Jones, plenty of time on the shot clock. Down to 14 and down to 13. Hughes, he's going to take it all the way to the hoop, and that foul has been called on Freddie Barnes.
The way Hughes has been calling for the ball, they should have put 4 men on him. You knew he was going to shoot this basketball at this time.
Timeout on the floor. 4:05 left in this quarterfinal game from Rutgers University. And our score, the Nittany Lions 52 and the Scarlet Knights 51. Well, don't forget on Saturday, the NCAA Division I women's basketball at the East Regional Final at 12 Eastern Time. Then the Mid-East at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. The final in the Midwest, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And for the West Region Final, it will be 12 midnight Eastern Time. All of that action Saturday here on ESPN.
Interesting timeout. If he would have waited 5 seconds, Coach Winslow would have had an automatic TV timeout, but he still has 3 left. No, he has 2 left now, we see, and that could be costly. We'll have to see down the stretch.
Clock goes under 4 minutes to play. Penn State by 1. Pass into traffic. Freddie Barnes dishes it back and score the hoop, and he'll go to the line. Money Brown.
And out of the timeout, the first time they've been aggressive in their man-to-man. They moved it out to half court, cut off the passing lanes, gave Rutgers a different look.
Plus the fact, as you look at this, well, this is the end of the play. Boy, he gets the roll as Duncan charged with the foul. It's only his first, but the pass was into traffic.
Yeah,
not that one, but the Rutgers pass.
The half-court pass, and that was that aggressive defense. Every time they give Rutgers a different look, it bothers them.
Misses on the free throw, so it's a 3-point game. And this crowd here at the rack trying to get the Scarlet Knights going. They're down by 3. At 17 Rutgers turnovers now.
Matchup zone. Let's see if the different look bothers Rutgers.
Penn State has scored 20 points, Mike, off those 17 turnovers. Bouncer inside. Hughes got tangled up.
And each time it gives them a different idea of how to try to get the ball to Hughes, and they haven't been good enough to try to get Hughes the ball.
Just as I'm talking about turnovers, they commit number 18.
That could be a magic number for Rutgers also, that 19 that we talked about earlier for Penn State.
Vogel flashes inside. They can't get the ball to him. It's Hughes with a good job defensively.
This is their flex offense. They don't get the ball inside with this offense, but it is a good stall type offense. This is more of a jump shot at the elbow type offense.
4 seconds on the shot clock. Almost an air ball, and Duckett comes away with the rebound.
And you know what we said, when Penn State shoots outside, what happens?
Taking it strong to the hoop, whistle inside, and it looks like Hayes of Penn State gets the foul. No, I beg your pardon. Vogel picks up his 4th foul.
We won't even talk about what would happen if he fouled out. I don't know if he can play with 4 like Bo Kimball did the other night, scoring 35 points in the second half.
Talk about a big one to miss. He still can hit this one here and make it a 2-point game.
Penn State 23 wins on the season. 2 years in a row they've won 20. They haven't done that for a lot of years.
Second one goes down at 54-52 with 2:26 left in the ball game. And Hughes and Daggett kind of mixing it up with the words as they came from down court, and one of the officials ran over and said, "Hey, let's play."
Loser goes home. Winner goes to Madison Square Garden. NIT semifinals.
Listen to this crowd at the rack. You can look for Penn State to run 40 seconds off of it if they can, and that is knocked out of bounds. And Hughes dodged the bullet there as he might have gotten a little wrist. But the officials turn of the time and they let him play. They give him the benefit of the doubt if nobody gains advantage.
And I think it's clever going into the flex here. It gives you a lot more picks, and it's easier to pass in this offense.
Monroe Brown asking again for the motion. They try the screen down underneath. Shot clock is at 10. Well, you got it in the left part of your screen. Daggett with the ball, 3 seconds to bounce pass. Hayes scores just as the clock was running out.
Now that's running it down, and they stayed in the flex. A lot of times you will not get a shot with 8 seconds to go running the flex.
Well, you can see the game clock. Under a minute and a half to play. It's a 4-point Penn State lead. Duncan way outside. Good heavens at the 23-footer.
He's a takeover type guy, Duncan. He plays his best when the game's on the line. They have to check him.
Huge trip right here. Nittany Lions by 1.
They're running over the pick.
Tried to say Freddie Barnes just took it right on the chin, didn't he? You got him said, "Hey, you're in my way.
You're going to have to win this game."
Yeah.
They're going to run it down again. This time they won't be as fortunate with the type of shot they get.
3-pointer on the way. Not there, Duckett. And the shot clock is off. Game clock, there it is, going under 30 and a timeout on the floor. 29 seconds left in the game. Penn State by 1, but the Scarlet Knights have the basketball. Turn back the clock, Michael. Close games always between these two. Atlantic 10 championship. That's with 4-point lead. Penn State goes for the 3-pointer. But as you can see, the Scarlet Knights came down with the rebound. And the celebration goes on as Bob Winslow gets a hug from his ball club. And Rutgers won it 70-66. Okay, the situation. Timeouts. Penn State with 4. Rutgers 1. Possession error goes to the Scarlet Knights. Penn State is in the bonus. Field goal percentage, you can see it right there. But, Mike, I mentioned early on that Penn State only had 2 team fouls in the second half. They still have 2 to give.
And that could work against them. If Rutgers scores here and takes the lead, Penn State may want to foul them, and all that would happen was Rutgers out of bounds.
But how many times have you seen the clock going under 10 seconds? You're ready to set something up offensively, and you foul a guy and he's not in the act of shooting. It takes you right out of your continuity.
It does.
Foul in the backcourt, and I don't think that's what Coach Barhill was looking for, but he does stop it. 15 seconds left. Now they still got 1 more to give. That's 4 on Freddie Brown and Michael Jennings.
And a great move. They can foul one more time if they could get about 8 seconds off this clock. Foul with 7 seconds left.
That's the point I was making as far as putting the
Exactly.
hardship, and there's another foul. That one against Monroe Brown.
But the clock didn't run.
Clock didn't run at all. That's not where they wanted it.
They should have let Duncan dribble a little bit, and he would have.
Freddie Barnes will come back in, and 0-0 Michael Jennings will go out.
Not even a second went off the clock, so it wasn't great strategy there. Now they can't foul.
Duncan with the spin move, not there, tipped, and Penn State has the rebound. Monroe Brown got it, and a foul in the backcourt. The Nittany Lions will go to the free throw line with 3 seconds left.
They had their money guy with the ball, Earl Duncan. He can penetrate and shoot the jumper better than anybody on Syracuse's team. It's too tough to get the ball to Keith Hughes in a short amount of time.
And that Freddie Brown, or Freddie Barnes, I should say, is an 80% free throw shooter. You look at Bruce Parkhill.
Money Brown did a great job in checking Earl Duncan. Monroe Brown is the best defensive player probably in the Atlantic 10, and he did the job. They do have 1 timeout left, and that's all they need, Rutgers.
Look for them to take it. Bob Wenzel has just signaled that if he makes it, call an immediate timeout. Gets it, and a timeout with 3 seconds left, and we're going to stay right here. Penn State with a 3-point margin, 58-55.
The problem here is, Ron, if they had that additional timeout that they used at the 4-minute mark, they could throw a pass to half court and call another timeout. They'd have 2 seconds left, then work something off a double pick. Now they have to go the length of the court with Penn State's defense all set up and ready. And I might add a very good man-to-man defense. So it does pose a problem for them. Is that concentration or isn't it concentration? They are going to know what the coach wants them to do, both teams.
Other end of the floor, Bob Wenzel with his instructions. 3 seconds left. His club trails by 3.
I would rather be in the Penn State huddle at this time. 3 seconds is not a long time, but remember Notre Dame against Syracuse, they threw that pass the length of the court, and for some reason Syracuse was fronting everybody, and they got a man behind. Penn State will probably make them use a couple of dribbles before the shot. Rutgers, no timeouts.
3 seconds left. Penn State leading by 3. And another timeout as the pass came to just shy of midcourt. Well, to Duncan, and no time went off the clock. So
that's what I would have done if I had a timeout. Now, according to our people, they had no timeout.
Well, now let me tell you something. I wondered, they pointed toward the Penn State bench when the last timeout was taken. Not this one, but the one before, because Tim Higgins pointed in that direction. So obviously it was the Nittany Lions who had taken that one, and they left Rutgers with 1.
Oh, well, that's our people aren't wrong then. It was Penn State. Very unusual timeout, but Penn State wanted to set up their defense. Everybody contributing in that huddle what they want to happen. Apparently we need to get a little closer to the huddle. But I'm sure they're talking about Rutgers loves to use the back pick. Where they come out and back pick, you send somebody to the hoop, and the guy that sets the pick steps out and gets the ball. Remember, they need a three-pointer.
Three-pointer on the way, no good. Mike Jones put up the three. And the Penn State Nittany Lions will head to Madison Square Garden.
And remember, this is at Rutgers.
Well, as you look at the floor here at the rack on the campus of Rutgers University, we mentioned to you that Penn State had a large following here, and they are covering the floor right now as the Nittany Lions will be in the semifinals. So let's go back to Chris Fowler, and it is Penn State winning tonight over Rutgers. Chris.
Okay, Ron, thanks very much. A reversal of the result last year in the Atlantic 10 final. Penn State, we've seen their fans mob the floor so many times at home. They do it in New Jersey. They are on their way to Madison Square Garden, the first time ever in the NIT.